our agenda. We'll make some introductions for the people that are online here for us. We have Superintendent Reed, we have Secretary Treasurer Thiessen, we have Assistant Superintendent Fielberg, we have Trustee Smith and Trustee Rowland, we have Trustee Dent, Trustee Wilson, Trustee Rowan, Trustee Boyson. We have our board support is Executive Secretary Sarah Scott, and we have Trustee Harris. In the room with us tonight, we also have Kim Stevenson. Kim is the principal of Lac Du Bonnet Senior, and she's presenting on behalf of Lac Du Bonnet tonight. So we're going to adopt our agenda. Be it resolved, the board approve our agenda. I need a move and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Boyson, second by Trustee Rowan. Any questions on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote. Thank you. It passed 8-0. 3.0 on our agenda is Chair's comments. Reminder, if there are people that have questions, please send your questions to jody.thiessen@sunrisesd.ca. Put your name and address of the sender included in the email with your questions, and we'll try to we will get to your questions tonight in our question period if you're listening online. I'm also going to open up to share a story from trustees. Anybody want to share a story? Trustee Rowan.
I'd like to thank SMS and OBE for having me out to read to several of their classes. The students were engaged listeners that were excited for the opportunity to have me in and introduce some new books to them. I also wanted to mention that SMA and SMTA will have their next meeting on Monday, March 9th at SCI. And I'd like to finish by giving a huge shout out to the SCI Entrepreneur Club. I had an opportunity to stop by the Entrepreneur Club Trade Fair at KP Mall on February 21st, where I spent some time at the SCI table. The group of students meets after school with SCI teacher Mr. Taves to develop real-world business skills, and as part of the club, they collaborate to create a full business model from product design and production to marketing and sales. Last year, the Entrepreneur Club made some customized scents. This year, they're making candles and seed bombs. They have another trade fair this weekend at St. Tom Mall from 10 to 6. If you're interested in checking out the fair, I suggest you go early as some scents sell quickly.
Thanks, Trustee Rowan. Anyone else? Trustee Boyson.
So for I Love to Read Month, I had the opportunity to visit Grafton School and Richland School. So thank you to both colony schools for inviting me to come read to their students. The students are very attentive and have lots of questions for me. And the next NOLA PAC meeting will be held on March 9th at 6 o'clock in the school staff room. New members are always welcome.
Thanks, Trustee Boyson. Anyone else? Trustee Harris.
I had the opportunity to visit Gillis School for I Love to Read Month and read to the students there. I tried to catch them off guard with the stories, but they were too smart for me. And this morning I had the opportunity to visit our board office in this here, and on the whiteboard outside the door it said that they had new teachers. They were having a session this morning, so I inquired as to the definition of a new teacher, thinking they had just started, but we're already into March for this, but apparently they're into their second year of teaching, and it's continued professional development given to them by the program leaders. And it was great to see the session that was going on. There's always something going on in this room throughout the day, it seems, whenever I have the opportunity to visit. Thank you.
I just want to add to that, Trustee Harris. It's great to see that we're developing a culture within the school division about supporting people's learning and helping out new teachers. So I can remember being a new teacher and being pretty nervous. And so I think that when we can bring people together, and Trevor, you and your group of program leaders, and thanks, Robin, for bringing that forward. Great opportunity for people to see the learning that's going on and being supported by each other. So thanks for that continued work in doing that. Anyone else? So I just want to add is that Parview School is having their next Parent Advisory Council this Thursday. I would encourage, and it's great to see because they're trying to get it off the ground. So if anybody's out there and you're listening, come on out to the school, 6 o'clock. It's in the staff room. And I probably should have said this right at the start. Unfortunately, we had an unfortunate accident at Heartland Colony where one of their buildings, I think it was their church, it was their kitchen burnt to the ground. And I talked to Mr. Reed about, how can we go ahead and support, and it seems like there's lots of people that are been trying to reach out to Heartland Colony, and whatever we can do for Heartland Colony, we certainly will. And we hope that repairs and whatever they need to go ahead and do can happen as quickly as possible. So if there's anybody from Heartland Colony that's listening and we need anything, certainly reach, Lorraine, reach out to Lorraine, reach out to Trevor, and we'll help out any way that we can.
If something comes up, as she says, right now the colony is very resilient, and the neighboring colonies are, everybody's jumping in and doing their part. So, but she was very thankful for the offer.
Yeah, thanks, Lorraine, for that. Anyone else share a story? Okay. So the next part is our board delegation, and we have Lac Du Bonte Senior. Mr. Reed, I'm going to give you the opportunity here.
Well, just as was already pointed out, we welcome Kim Stevenson, principal of Lac Du Bonte School, senior school, and she's here to share with us some information about the school and some of the things that they're doing to establish, some really healthy culture and make it even more of a warm and inviting place for students. And so we're going to throw it over to Kim.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Lac Du Bonte Senior School is home to 180 students this year in grades 7 to 12. There are 34 either full or part-time staff there. That includes clinicians, custodial staff, EAs, librarians, office staff, and of course the teachers. Our school goal this year is that all staff and students will engage with the school and community in a positive manner to increase their confidence and independence. How we came to this goal was that we found that our students were achieving in their academics, but they weren't really engaged in the process of learning. Students indicated, so we had implemented a pretty strict phone policy right before the province came out with their phone policies because we had noticed a lot of distraction. And students indicated they were participating in their academics due to a lack of distraction. One of the comments made was that you have to pay attention because there's nothing else to do now. Yeah, which was amusing, but it's not really what we wanted for our kids, right? We want them to enjoy the process of learning and be engaged and see the purpose in it. We noticed that this lack of engagement was prevalent in all of our students, from the struggling learners to the high achievers, and we wanted to shift the focus to improve our student engagement with their learning. We noticed a high degree of apathy. A lot of our students were prioritizing either their part-time jobs or their club sports over school attendance and performance. Homework was kind of 4th or 5th down the list in terms of their priorities, and if they had a practice late at night, getting up for their first class in the morning was not a priority. When we looked deeper into it, and this was some of our past goals, is we recognized that there were a lot of mood and anxiety disorders amongst teens, and that's not new or independent of our school. But what the research says is that lots of times that can manifest as apathy and disengagement. And so one of the ways to combat that was to increase their independence, let them find ways of having fun, engage in challenging activities, and that's all being shown to have positive impact, so that's where our goal came from. The strategies we used, first we found some baseline data, so we used surveys and conversations with students. Our guidance counselor, who's our Lake Division funded team leader, took a large role in that. And what she found is that apathy extended to the parents as well, not just to the kids. We only had 36% attendance to our first parent-teacher this year. We have had no PAC in the building for years, despite annual efforts to try and get that going. We found that families were not even reading email communications from us, and that if we wanted them to engage in that information or understand it, follow-up was definitely required. I even found that if I was making phone calls to families after 5 p.m., 5 p.m. is when those automated messages come about attendance, if I made phone calls after 5 p.m., they would just answer and hang up. And so I had to call back again, and then they would actually answer the phone and be like, oh, I just assumed it was the attendance call. So just that, like, they know those calls are coming, and they didn't seem to really care, and they didn't bother to excuse the absence either. The student surveys showed that students really wanted to see more field trips. They found that that was a fun way to learn, and it made them more engaged in the topics in the classroom. They wanted places to hang out in the school. They didn't, like, we don't have a cafeteria, so there isn't really a general hangout space for the kids. And they wanted to see more activities that didn't just revolve around extracurricular sports. We wanted to increase our communication, so we really pushed the parent portal this year. I make We Get a Glance post on our school Facebook group, and then that's also posted on our webpage. And our teachers have started doing something that they call sunshine emails. So instead of just contacting because of attendance or because of marks, they're reaching out to families to let them know things that are going well. Some of the strategies. So we listened to our students and that they wanted some fun places to hang out. So we reached out to the community, made some posts on Facebook looking for things that we could put into the building. So things like a pool table, foosball table, that sort of thing. We were overwhelmed by the generous support. We were willing to pay for these things, but we ended up bringing in a ping pong table, a foosball table, a pool table, furniture. If you look on the bottom right picture, there's like some leather furniture that people donated to the school. Leather's great for kids because if they spill on it, it's easier to clean. And they wouldn't take any money for it. They just wanted to donate it, and even the recognition part of it, they didn't feel that it necessary, but we got a display board on the outside of our building this year, so we made sure to post people's names on there, just thanking them. We had a middle year ski trip that already took place. We have a senior year ski trip hopefully coming up. I think that's on your agenda to approve tonight. We have a field trip planned to visit CNL, so to see some of the scientific careers as well as some of the trades careers that are available there. Our bio classes took a field trip to the U of M. We have a introductory French program starting this year. They're going to be taking a field trip to St. Boniface to actually do some interacting in French with business owners there. We've been doing cross-country skiing, ice fishing, winter hiking, and shelter building. We have a weekly basketball night that is open to any student, and we have a weekly badminton night as well. Some of the community initiatives that were begun. The digital sign has really helped because it's made things public that are happening in the school, so it increases the attendance at things like our sporting events or assemblies and that sort of thing. We have a town cleanup coming in the spring that the town of Lactobani has partnered with us to sponsor, and also the medical group in Lactobani has sponsored our crew to do some cleanup around there. Our students have been volunteering for the Lions Club. They volunteered at the fishing derby this past weekend. They are in the process of connecting with the Wildlife Association to go tour their spaces in the spring. The Wildlife Association has also volunteered to begin an archery program with our students. The Lactobani Foundation is a philanthropy group that is connected with our school, so we have a youth and philanthropy group that is doing some great things with them. And our phys ed teacher has also established a connection with the curling club, the arena to offer skating. She also organized a fishing derby for our middle year students. And then we've also taken to celebrating some of the wonderful things that our students are. So we didn't have a senior year's honor roll before, so we started with a senior year's honor roll so that students are competing with themselves to improve their marks instead of competing with that top student and trying to beat a top student out of a spot. So we have a large crew that are being acknowledged at those assemblies. And so what we found is kids were saying, well, why should I try for that extra couple percent? Because I can't beat that one student who's always getting 98. Well, now, like, getting the 92%, you're still going to get acknowledged at those assemblies. And we found that a lot of students appreciated that, so it's been good. This is our leadership group in the school. So it ranges students from grade 8 to grade 12. They are planning a trivia afternoon, so like a quiz night that you might go to for a fundraiser. Our crew is planning that activity afternoon, or the trivia afternoon for the school. They are also the ones that coordinated that town cleanup that's going to happen. We have seen an increase in attendance at sporting events, so students are coming in after hours and actually cheering on our sports teams, which is great. We do have a PAC committee now this year. I pestered enough of them at PAC, or at the first parent teacher, that I've got a crew of 5 ladies that have really taken on. And I need to, I don't know if any of them listen to these, but I need to give a shout out to them. They spoiled our staff so much that Staff Appreciation Week that nobody brought lunches any day because you weren't going to eat it anyway. I had to wear stretchy pants the last half of the week because my clothes weren't fitting anymore. And I had a teacher come to our PAC meeting that happened the next week, and she informed them that that was the first year in almost 20 years of teaching in our buildings that she had ever had that amount of appreciation from parents and community members. So it was really amazing, and it really like buoyed the teachers and the staff just to recognize that they were appreciated. So our PAC planned a movie night, and they would like to do that again. They have a dance that they're planning. And we've also noticed that with the stuff going on in school, we've had more students staying in the school during fairs. We had lots of our kids that would just go out into the community, but now they're actually hanging out and talking with each other, because we still don't allow cell phones during class time, even if they're on spare, and they're hanging out anyway, so they don't need their phones to socialize, and it's been really great for the community in there. On the data side of it, we've noticed that our behavior incidents, so last year we had 12 behavior incidents that were involving physical altercations. Those usually occurred off-site and at lunch. That's down to 2 this year. So it's been big. Vaping is obviously a problem with kids, and where I had 17 incidents last year, we're down to 3. So they might be getting better at hiding it, or they're just not doing it in the school, which is what I'm choosing to believe at the start of every class. So it just, students don't have that pushback of, well, so-and-so lets me do this, or this isn't such a big deal in somebody else's class. This year, I've only had 4 students who have had to be told more than once or reminded more than once to put their phone away. In our school, the policy is it gets taken away right away if you have it away or have it out during school time. But on the second time, parents have to come pick it up at some point after 3:30. So I've only had 4 times that that's had to happen this year, as opposed to 13 from last year. So this is just our attendance graph. Attendance is one thing that obviously I think is a struggle for all schools. And I'm told that our attendance isn't bad, but I still think it could be better. I would like to see it over 90% in every month. Just some things, though, that I noticed when I dug into that data. This includes attendance for excused and unexcused absences. And we have 12 players on our hockey team that are missing 1 to 2 afternoons a week to play high school hockey. And that's from the months of November to February. So it has a huge impact on that attendance. And I don't know how to fix it, but just it's something to be aware of. I don't want them to miss out on hockey, but it also makes it so I have to be very creative in my timetabling and make sure that they're not missing like those academic subjects that they're going to fall really behind on. Just so you know, 12 players is actually like 7% of our population, so it's a big impact. The PD that we've done to work on this goal, we had the True North Sports and Entertainment organization come in and do a team building workshop on one of our PD days. And the staff found it really enjoyable, and they worked with people that they maybe weren't in their subject area or weren't, part of their like work friend group. We worked on communication and how to have those conversations with people when you have disagreements, or how to work through problems when nobody has a solution. They worked in teams that were of my making instead of them working in their sort of friend groups. And I actually overheard a lot of really fun conversations, and I had one teacher come to me, and I won't mention the teacher's name, but she was like, I actually learned to appreciate this person because they were on my team. I always thought they were so negative, but I actually found that they have a lot of good things to say too. It's just you don't hear those unless you're in those like smaller group conversations. So that was just really fun. And one of the things that they did was create a list of, or a wish list for things that they wish were going on in our school, that were things that they thought were achievable, but also things that they thought were really outside the box. And what we discovered in that is some of those things that they thought were just wild fantasies, actually, we've got people that are working towards. So I have a great group of people in my building that you put a goal in front of them and they work together and they find a way to make it happen. So we did a team building Olympics, and they went above and beyond. They dressed up in like country colors and came, and we did little trivia things, and they did their own talent show amongst the staff members, and it was just really fun, and it let them be themselves and let their personalities shine through, and I feel like they're working better together and more supportive and covering for each other and doing all those helpful things, so that was good. Where are your monies going? So our SBDM dollars are have to be tied either to our school goal or to literacy and numeracy. So one of the ways that we spent some of that money this year is we purchased some Charger swag. So we're the Chargers, and we use that stuff to reward students that we see either doing acts of kindness or getting involved in their community or doing things to help people that they aren't being asked to do, or just celebrating those milestones for them. One of the ones that we identified is that there was a student that led our Remembrance Day ceremony. You were at our Remembrance Day, right? So the MC to that event wasn't somebody who'd ever participated in anything, and he did such an amazing job at that event. So I pulled him aside the next day and I gave him one of our Chargers hoodies. He wore that hoodie every day for 2 months, and it was just heartwarming, and he's involved, right? Like he feels like it's his place, and I love to see that. So we also decided to have an extra team leader position in literacy. So she is focusing on grades 7 to 9 literacy results. She is from another division. She had some Orton Gillingham, is that the right name? So she had some training in that, and she's utilizing some of those strategies to work with literacy on the students that have been identified by their classroom teachers. We also pay for our Mathletics subscription out of that money to work on like math concepts. I don't know how much you know about Mathletics, but it's actually set in units that coincide with the curriculum, so teachers can assign different activities that kids can either work on in their spare time or at home to practice those strategies and improve their math skills. Some of that money has also gone to pay for the curling ice and the arena ice to do those activities. We also had Speed Skating Manitoba come out, and I have to give a shout out to our phys ed teacher who arranged that. But Speed Skating Manitoba came out and did a workshop and brought all of the speed skates and taught them the proper form. Jody Wilgosh, one of our divisional principals, came out and participated, and he said it was the hardest skating he'd ever done. So it was a pretty fun experience. I took some pictures if anybody wants to see, just of Jody. And then also some of that money goes to our outdoor ed program, so it's helping to fund some of those outdoor activities. Lac du Bonnet is known as a 4-season playground, so we want to make sure that our kids understand all the privileges that they have that are in our community. Now it's your turn.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that, Kim. I often then open it up to trustees if they have any questions, and we'll see what you get asked. Any questions for anyone? Because I have 3 of them.
I got a half a dozen.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Harris.
I'll start with, is that the staff?
That was Colleen.
Lovely. I think you mentioned earlier that you have new signage out in front of the school. How new is that?
That's this year. We had it installed. So one of our EAs, who's Lee Valentonis, who's been with us a long time, he's very involved in our athletics. And he has been running our vending machine for, well, since Lonnie was the principal there. And so the money that gets raised through our vending machine has been stockpiled in, and he really wanted an outdoor digital display. So when he first started planning this, he was looking for one of those reader boards that just had the tickers that ran along. But now there's these, like the amazing technology, so you can put videos on there. It's this, I want to say it's 12 by 4 that's mounted on the front of our school. So we post any events that are taking place in the school, community events that the school is a part of, we post that up there. Obviously our thank yous to the people we post up there, but it was a big expense, and that was all from school funds. I didn't use board money.
She answered all my other questions. In her response, that was great. From vending machine sales in the school, you got $1 million signage thing.
I believe the price tag on it was about $8,000 for the sign, but for probably 10 to 15 years of vending machine sales, yeah.
Anyone else for Kim? So Kim, 3 questions. One is, can you tell the board what's a typical day like for you at Lac Du Bonte Senior?
I'll tell you about this year rather than last year, because last year was a little interesting. This year, I would say a typical day for me, I start by greeting like all the bus students that come off. I do bus duty every day just so that it gives me a chance to say good morning to everybody. And once all the buses are in, then I usually go hang out in our middle years end. That seems to be the busiest area of the school, so I do that until O Canada. Then I make my way back down to the office because there's usually about 3 things waiting for me that have come through from the secretary. Take care of those, and then I try and pop into at least 2 different classrooms a day, just for 15 minutes at a time to see how things are going and make sure kids are used to seeing me. I find teachers are less nervous about when it's evaluation time if they're used to me wandering in. Sometimes they kick me out because they tell me I'm a distraction, but it's a good opportunity for me. Lunch hours I spend wandering around the school usually, just seeing what the kids are up to. They beat me at foosball every time. I am terrible at that game. Afternoons, I try and spend catching up on my paperwork, reading report card comments, that sort of thing. I haven't had nearly the behavior issues that I had last year, and I feel like it's a big community piece. That used to take a lot of my time, whether it was communicating with parents or contacting LARS or student support about issues. I have an amazing student support team, so they're not requiring my assistance in programming for kids nearly as much. So I have a lot more time this year to get into classes and meet with kids, so that's my day.
Thank you. Second question. You talked about that you have an extra team leader position, and it's with regard to literacy. My question is it working?
The data is yet to be gathered.
What did you got?
Are we going to get into a philosophical question? I feel like education is going in a better direction now, but there is a lot of basic literacy skills that were taken out of curriculums and classrooms in the early years for a very long time that we are seeing, and the common practice was to say, well, these are struggling readers, let's give them audiobooks, let's give them speech to text. but that doesn't solve the problem. So I feel like, yes, she's having an impact. We're not going to see great gains, though, until we've had the opportunity to put these things in practice for a few years.
Perfect. And last question. You have a parent come into your school, new parent, planning on moving to the community. And they ask you this question: what are 3 things that you're most proud of your school? What do you tell that new parent?
Number one, I have to say I'm proud of my staff. They are the ones that notice when a kid isn't connecting, when a kid isn't engaged, and they are contacting all the right people to make sure that it happens. They're looking for friend groups that they can participate in. So I would say that's the number one thing that I'm telling parents, is that if they choose to put their kids in our hands, that it's not just me, it's a great group of people that are going to be there to support their kids. Second one, I think we have a strong athletic department. For a small school, I feel like we're very competitive in all the sports that we offer, so if kids are interested in that, I feel like that's a strong selling point. And then I would say the third one is that when kids have interests that we are not providing, somebody on our staff says, yep, tell me what you need to know. I don't know how to do this, but I will be the supervisor for it. I put a call out 2 months ago to ask if anyone knew how to crochet, because we had a couple students that wanted to crochet, and nobody knows how to crochet. But I had 3 teachers find a bunch of YouTube videos and said, okay, I will give up a lunch hour a week and we'll sit down and I'll crochet with these kids. So I know I probably should say the academics. We do offer all of the sciences, all of the maths. We offer the 3 different Englishes at the high school level. Like, we're doing all the things for education that people need, but in my opinion, building good citizens, that's what's going to help kids be successful in the future, and I think we're doing that.
Right on, thanks. So I've never asked any other principal 2 of those questions, so I just want to let you know that I didn't mean to put you on the spot if I did. One last question I've given an opportunity for all principals is that we're deciding a budget here in the next 10 minutes. We're going to decide. So what's important at Lac Du Bonte Senior and for you?
I actually was smart and anticipated this question this year. So I put the call out to my staff, and I said, they often ask, so let me know what you need. One of the most common ones was that they want more laptops for students. It's because we have restricted cell phone use, the technology piece. There's so much need for technology, that individual piece, that there just isn't enough available for students. So that's one piece. I know we're on a rotation. I think in 2 years our computers are being due to be upgraded, and I have talked with ICT about replacing a lot of the desktops in our building with laptops so they can be brought into the classrooms and used. Rather than booking a lab for an hour, you can use like a set of laptops for 20 minutes to do a current events activity or something without losing half of your class to take them down to the lab and then bring them back. The other piece is stuff for that outdoor education piece, and maybe this is a Lac Du Bonte thing, I don't really know, but we have such a connection to the outdoors in Lac Du Bonte that being able to have that equipment to take them to do all those things. So we're looking to partner with the fishing derby right now about getting rods and tackle. We need life jackets.
By the province, the senior administration team, along with our director of ICT, had the chance to participate in mock cybersecurity scenario-based activity. I was hosted by Bell Cyber, who is one of the companies that we contract with, and so I think you can never really be truly prepared. People who are most responsible for the security of this type of incident do feel that the division would you know, has done some background work and some